Welcome back to the lab. Monday, heavily involved in administrative type stuff and things today. So, been out and about, made a couple of trips, picked up the BMW, that's back, picked up the parts for the motor for this, some of the parts for the motor for this, picked up a steering device for the oil industry. What else have I done? A sticker for that, and a couple of bits and pieces to make some special drive shafty hoop type things for a job you guys aren't going to see. Motor, engine block, VG30DETT. So it is sitting here like this right now because I've been attacking it with my special tool that I've made up. Made this a number of years ago. It's a thing. It's a thing with 300 ZXs. We've been using that one. We've been using that one. That's not a special one. You just buy those off the shelf. And what we've been attacking is downside there. And the water gallery, not the oil gallery, water gallery, Glenn. It's a bit of a thing. VG30DETT's had casting flash, quite a lot of casting flash through that main water gallery there. And way back in the day, people figured out that that was there and it probably shouldn't be. And if you get rid of it, you get a bit better cooling, bit better flow throughout the system. Normally with a standard one, if I put the camera here, you won't be able to see out the end of that one. That'll be blocked up with casting flash and stuff. So a bit of a bzz bzz with the Dremel, and that's Bob's your uncle. Good to go. Flows a lot better. Of course, we got to have a cold drink because it's a hot day. You got to remove some frost plugs to do that. Dead ones, new ones, all good. And look, despite a $23,000 engine rebuild, not including some paint for the engine block, we will be, oh, looks a different brand, I didn't realise that. We will be actually painting the engine block on this, because you should, really, for that's, you know, for if you're doing it properly, you should be. So anyway, we'll do that very shortly. This is because we've been fluffing around making metal fly all over the place. This has got all our oil galleries and stuff all blocked off to prevent any contamination from our freshly cleaned units. Now, there's a little bit of a misunderstanding with the engine reconditioners. They have removed and reinstated these plugs, on oil galleries, all of them except for the ones on the deck. So two of these, I'm not sure which two it is, I'd have to look into the part numbers in the manual, probably those two, have got an oil check valve in them to stop the oil running back out of the passageways that are to run the hydraulic followers. The other two, not so much, they're just a jet, and those are the ones that run the variable cam timing. Pretty sure those are those two, and those are the ones with the check valves. Like I say, I'll have to look into that. So they didn't refit those, and there's none in the country, and it's 12 weeks, I believe, ex-Japan at the moment. So we'll be talking to our mates very, very quickly from Z1 and get those FedExed over from there, which should be something like a week. Little bit frustrating, because that's some more days where I can't get things done and earn money, can't put the heads back on the engine, can't do everything that goes on beyond that point. Do have some other things to do in the meantime. So let's put some paint on that and make it look nice. Not hard, eh? Looks a lot better, doesn't it? And it won't go all rusty and leave big rust stains down everything. Any water flows off the engine block in the engine bay. Look at that. See, you can charge $23,000. Doesn't hurt to make things look tidy. So quite a bit to go, obviously, from this point. A lot of work, a lot of cleaning up to do in the workshop before we can go any further. But that is a start. Tuesday morning in New Zealand. It is 22/02/2022, 22nd day of the second month of 2022. It's Tuesday, as one of my followers on Facebook pointed out. Quite a hard case date. Americans are going to miss out on that because they will have 02/22 to 022, just not saying. Just not the same, guys. Sorry about that. So this is clean. I've got rid of some dust and stuff. We're at the point we can start doing some basic assembly before we have to get too carried away with a proper clean, which is all very well and good. Can manage that. So I tore this thing right down to here, to the bare bones basically, as a block, and not too much else left hanging off. A couple of studs, a couple of dowels here and there. There's a fitting on the other side there for the oil filter, but really not a lot else. A couple of baffles to stop the oil spraying back up those drains. Now, it's good that we did that, because when these fellas rebuilt this engine, they forgot the gasket that lives down in there. So there would have been quite an oil leak on all 3 points there. Here's the little gasket here. It looks dirty, but don't worry, that's oil splatter from blowing out the piston oil squirters here with the air gun to make sure they are clean. Here's our gaskets. These need to be put in between here and the block. Here's some new spring washers and cleaned bolts and all that sort of carry on, and we need to torque these up properly with a torque wrench, which is not currently on the bench. Then suddenly it's on the bench. I won't show you the brand because it's the wrong brand. It'll upset sponsors. Never mind. I'll just put that over there. Carefully not drop it on the floor. So we're going to put those in. I've rung to check to see whether we can source some new bearings, which are tucked away at the moment. The original ones are in one of these nice clean boxes. Because although they're new, they've only done 1,000 Ks. We might as well. But I'll wait and see whether we can actually source them or not. In the meantime, I'll start putting those piston oil squirters back in and the baffles that go in here. No, we aren't that far ahead just yet. So, because we put aftermarket washers in there under those bolt heads, that can raise the height of those bolt heads. You just want to make sure that there's not going to be any problems. As it turns out, all the bolts that we put in pretty much line up with Conrod journals, big ends, whatever we want to argue that that's called. So at this point in time, you can't actually confirm, but you can have a good look and make sure. So I've just put a couple of bearings, put one at each end. There's none in the middle, that's why there's no bolts, just to make sure that that all lines up where it needs to be. And we're just checking to see whether we can actually source some new bearings for this, just out of prudency. I will check in the meantime the clearances that we've got and everything, make sure they got that all right. The bearings didn't look awful, they certainly didn't look brand spanking new. They would probably be okay to use again, considering it is basically a repair. It's not actually a rebuild as such. It's kind of somewhere in between, right? That fuzzy line where we are replacing some stuff but not everything. We are just sorting out their issues that they created. So if we can't get some ACL bearings, race bearings, we will use these. They should be alright, they should be fine to carry on. I forgot, where were we? We're there now anyway. So that is almost, could put an idler on there, except that idler is actually flogged out. I don't think they replaced that, and they should have. It's going to die soon, so I'll get a new one of those. That is about as far as we can go with this. We don't have head gaskets, we don't have the jets. Everything's coming, as I understand it, sometime in March. Thanks COVID, awesome. That's what happens, never mind. So there's some stuff we can do on the head gasket, on the heads, the actual cylinder heads. I do have some factory gaskets that I don't mind donating to the cause. We can sit those on there, which will put the heads at about the right heights. We can put one stud on each side just so they don't fall off. Put the exhaust manifolds on, and once we get our turbo cores back, we can actually clock all those up and get all that underway, ready to go when we get our bits. We can bolt that all together, but it looks good now. This is not an overhauled short block, this is a repaired short block. It's The original rings and bearings have gone back in there. There's nothing wrong with them, so they are fine to keep going. It's what you would call a repair. It's not what you would call an overhaul. It's been all disassembled, clean, checked. The decks have been done just in case, because I just didn't trust them. And that's that. It should be good to go. And I see that basically the engine number, which should be here, is no longer there. It's completely gone. So this had quite a bit of material removed from here, which is why I've ordered some relatively thick head gaskets to put things back where it should be. 4 o'clock. I forgot to do the unboxing in the other video. Oh, gave it away. Hang on a second. Anyway, we had to move that out of the way. Customs have already been in here. Look at the mess they've made. They ruined it. The unboxing is not as glamorous as it could have been. They've just got in there and trashed things so that they could see that, yes indeed, there are some shock absorbers in here. Oh, that one's caught up. Now let's do this. Oh, look at that. Bling bling. Now, I'm not too sure on the colour scheme. The green isn't going to go very well with the blue and the silver, but hey, it is what it is. So at some point we're going to fit these, probably when the engine's in and all the weight's back in the car, so that we just do it all in one hit, set everything up at the right ride height and all that sort of carry on. Because we smash them in now, we won't know what the ride height is, and then we'll have to go in there later and adjust it all. So there's that. Might as well into the cylinder heads. Not a heck of a lot to do with these particular pieces here apart from assembly. There is some corrosion that hasn't come away from the cleaning process, so I'll get in there with the Dremel with a small wire brush and just clean that up, because once it's in the car you're not going to be able to do it. The rest of them don't seem too bad, but if you leave corrosion like that, it kind of feeds on itself and just keeps growing and growing. It's just going to be a problem going forward. It's going to be a nuisance at some point in time when someone's changing spark plugs and the whole stuff falls out of there and goes down the spark plug hole. Yucky. Hydraulic followers apart and cleaned out. Further cleaning required and reassembly and stuff. This is the preliminary cleaning stage. This is why everything looks so mucky and dirty. There wasn't a whole heap of stuff in there. Oh, those lights, bad news, aren't they? But there was definitely stuff in there, and you don't want that in there inside your hydraulic followers. That's bad, 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 bad. We weren't having problems, but if I'd left that in there, we probably would have gone forward, going forward. So that's been put to bed, wrapped up, protected to stop any stuff and things getting in there while we wait for all the rest of the bits, and that'll disappear into site B, so that it's not in here while we're doing some cutting and grinding and stuff and things with other things that need to happen. That is late night for me. That runs slow, remember, sometimes fast, other times it's hopeless. So that'll do. Go and have a cold drink. We'll finish those tomorrow, and they can actually go in the cylinder heads before the heads go onto the motor, and we'll stick the camshafts in there as well. Double check that those are cleaned up. I did clean them up, but we'll just double check that. And you put the camshaft seals in. The solenoids can go on the ends, a whole heap of things actually, before you put the cylinder heads onto the motor. Right, like I say, I'll keep trucking on. Thanks for watching. Cheers, bye.